Humans venture into the unknown. The HFY Intrepid, a sleek human exploration vessel, glided through the inky darkness of unexplored space. On the bridge, Captain Area Vance surveyed her crew with pride. They were the best Earth had to offer, brave, clever, and united in their quest to chart the unknown reaches of the galaxy. "Captain, we're approaching the coordinates of the anomaly," reported Ensign Kim, the eager young navigator. "Sensors are picking up some unusual readings." Area leaned forward in her command chair, blue eyes intense. On screen, the view screen filled with a dense field of shimmering stardust, light years wide. Spectral colors rippled and danced, hinting at immense energies within. Lieutenant Commander Reeves, the ship's science officer, furrowed his brow. "I've never seen anything like it. The radiation signatures are off the charts." Area made a decisive nod. "Then it looks like we're in the right place. This is what we came out here to find. The mysteries no one else has dared to unravel." "Plot a course, Ensign." "Nice and steady." As the Intrepid probed forward, the bridge crew exchanged glances of excitement mixed with apprehension. They all knew the risks of their mission. In the fleet's last transmission to Earth, some 8 months prior, Area had stated it plainly. "We go into the deep dark to light a candle of discovery. We know we may not return, but whatever we find out here, it will be worth the cost. Humanity's future is forward, to the stars." Now, as the unknown anomaly loomed before them, those words took on new weight. The Intrepid advanced, sensors straining, and then, "Contacts," barked Tactical Officer Jameson. "Multiple bogies emerging from the anomaly. They're huge." "Evasive maneuvers," ordered Area. But it was too late. The strange ships were everywhere, blocking their escape. One dwarfed the Intrepid, bristling with exotic weapons. A deep voice crackled over the comm. "Unknown vessels, you have breached Galactic Council territory. Stand down or be destroyed." Area straightened her uniform, projecting calm. Inside, her mind raced. Galactic Council. Here, in the back of Beyond. What secrets were they guarding? She toggled the fleet-wide channel. "This is Captain Area Vance of the Earth Expeditionary Forces. We are on a mission of peaceful exploration. We mean no harm." A long pause. Then a single word. "Proceed." The alien leviathans parted, opening a path. At its end glimmered a colossal structure, all gleaming spires and glowing conduits. A nexus of power ancient beyond reckoning. Area gripped the arms of her chair, knuckles white, feeling the weight of the moment. There was no going back now. Forward, into the unknown, for the sake of all humanity. She gave the order that would change the course of history. "Fleet, advance. Let's see what the galaxy has in store for us." First contact. As the human fleet approached the immense structure, they were dwarfed by its sheer size. It was like a small moon, but crafted with artistry and technology far beyond anything they had encountered. Delicate spires twisted upwards, glowing with inner light. Massive platforms bustled with activity, ships of all sizes and configuration docking and departing. It was a nexus of civilization, a crossroads of the galaxy. "Incredible," breathed Lieutenant Commander Reeves, eyes wide as he scanned the readings. "The energy output is astronomical. This facility could power a dozen star systems." Captain Area Vance stood tall on the bridge, hiding a growing unease. So much power, so much that was unknown. What were they getting into? Her thoughts were interrupted by a hail from the behemoth ship that still shadowed them. The deep voice spoke again. "Earth vessels, you are hereby commanded to dock at the designated coordinates. Your delegation will be escorted to the council chambers for inquiry. Any deviation will be met with force." Area bristled at the tone, but held her tongue. "Acknowledged. We will comply." As the fleet maneuvered to dock, she turned to her officers. "Jameson, Reeves, Kim, you're with me. We need to make a good impression." The team assembled at the airlock, straightening their uniforms, checking their translation devices. They had trained for first contact scenarios, but this was beyond any simulation. The hatch hissed open, and they stepped out, and onto what could only be described as a bustling city street. But instead of humans, it teemed with beings strange and varied. Tall, crystalline figures glided by, leaving tinkling music in their wake. Tentacled creatures scuttled along the walls, and small furry beings darted underfoot. "My God," murmured Kim. "So many species. This is..." The Galactic Council finished, a new voice, resonant and penetrating. They turned to see it belonged to a towering midnight blue being with 4 arms and eyes that swirled with starlight. It was clad in shimmering robes that seemed to drink in the light. "I am Zin Ka, speaker for the council," it said. "You will follow." Without waiting for a response, the being turned and strode off, leaving the humans to scramble after it. They walked through vaulted halls of shimmering metal, past towering atriums where floating platforms held verdant gardens, and skirted strange machines whose purpose they could only guess at. Finally, they arrived at a massive set of doors, emblazoned with a sigil that seemed to shift and change before their eyes. Zin Ka placed their hand upon it, and the doors swung open, revealing a vast, circular chamber, dominated by a floating podium in the center. Arrayed around it were dozens of elevated platforms, each holding a being that radiated power and authority. Many species were represented, some humanoid, others utterly alien. All had their attention fixed on the newcomers. "Step forward," intoned Zin Ka. Captain Vance took a deep breath, then marched to the center of the chamber, her team close behind. She looked up at the assembled beings, refusing to be cowed. "I am Captain Area Vance of the Earth Expeditionary Forces. We come in peace, seeking knowledge and friendship among the stars." There was a murmur from the council, a ripple of whispers in strange tongues. Then, a voice like the grinding of continents rose from the largest platform. "Earth, a young world, and an even younger spacefaring race. You have not yet earned a place among us." Area bristled, but kept her tone level. "With respect, we have journeyed far and risked much to be here. We may be young, but we are eager to learn and contribute to the galactic community." "And what do you imagine you have to offer us?" came another voice, dripping with condescension. "You fumble in the dark while we have mapped the stars and bent the forces of the cosmos to our will." Arya met the challenge in those swirling alien eyes with an unflinching gaze of her own. "We offer a fresh perspective, courage, ingenuity, the tenacity to solve any problem, overcome any obstacle. But most of all, we offer our friendship and our open hands." Her words hung in the air, and for a moment, the chamber was silent. Then, a low chuckle began to build, rolling and echoing, until it was a roar of mocking laughter. The human delegation looked around, confused and increasingly angry. "You speak of friendship," sneered one golden-scaled counselor. "Of open hands. How naive. In the galactic community, strength is the only currency, and you have none." "Then let us prove our strength," snapped Arya, fists clenched at her sides. "Give us a chance, and we will show you what humanity is capable of." The laughter died down, replaced by an interested murmur. The massive central figure leaned forward, its piercing gaze settling on Arya. "Very well, Earth Captain. You shall have your chance. But know this: if you fail, your species will be forever barred from the galactic stage. The Council does not give second chances." Arya never wavered. "We won't need one." And so it began, the greatest test humanity had ever faced. The stakes, their future among the stars. But Arya and her crew had faith in each other, and in the indomitable human spirit. They would not fail. The Galactic Council. The Galactic Council chamber hummed with 1,000 whispered conversations as Captain Arya Vance and her team stood at the center of attention. Representatives from species old and powerful, accustomed to dictating the fate of star systems with a word, now scrutinized these upstart humans. Zin Ka, The council speaker raised a long-fingered hand for silence. The council acknowledges the humans' request for a chance to prove their worth. They intoned, "Are there any who would set the challenge?" A splendidly insectoid being clicked its mandibles. Let them navigate the labyrinth of thorax. No non-council race has ever emerged alive. A gelatinous counselor pulsed with bioluminescent scorn. Too easy. Send them to mine Zenithium from the scorching moons. Their frail bodies will wither. Other challenges were shouted out, each more daunting and deadly than the last. Arya listened, head high, refusing to show fear. But inside, a cold knot of worry grew. Had she doomed her crew, her entire species, with her boldness? Enough. The voice cut through the clamor like a blade. All eyes turned to the shadowed platform at the far end of the chamber. The being there was cloaked in darkness, only its eyes visible, swirling galaxies of light and power. "I, Kralzak the Unfathomable, will set the challenge," it said, its voice resonating in their bones. "Let the humans venture into the Zilithian expanse and return with a star map. If they survive, their worth will be proven." A hush fell over the chamber. Arya glanced at her team and saw her own confusion mirrored in their faces. The Zilithian expanse. They'd never heard of it. Zine Ka bowed deeply to Kralzak. "It shall be so. Captain Vance, do you accept this challenge on behalf of your species?" Arya stepped forward, ignoring the tremor in her hands. "I do. We will map the Zilithian expanse and return." Kralzak's eyes flared. "You speak confidently for one so ignorant. Know this. The expanse is a region of space uncharted even by the Council. It is said to be a graveyard of ships, a nexus of cosmic horrors. None who enter ever return." A grim silence settled over the humans. Then Lieutenant Kim spoke up, her voice shaking but determined. "Why has no one from the Council mapped it?" Kralzak's gaze shifted to her, and she quailed but did not look away. "We have sent expeditions. None have returned. The expanse guards its secrets jealously." Arya's mind raced. This was a suicide mission, a way for the Council to rid themselves of the troublesome humans while maintaining the appearance of fairness. But to refuse would be to condemn humanity to eternal irrelevance, a footnote in galactic history. She met Kralzak's stare with steel in her eyes. "We will not fail." The Unfathomable leaned back, shadows swirling around it. "We shall see. You have one standard galactic cycle. Return with the star map, or not at all." With that, the council session was adjourned. The various alien dignitaries filed out, some casting curious looks at the humans, others pointedly ignoring them. Soon, only Arya and her team were left in the vast, empty chamber. Reeves broke the silence, his voice strained. "Captain, this is madness. We can't possibly." "We can." Arya cut him off. "And we will. We didn't come this far to turn back now." She looked at each of her officers in turn, drawing strength from their resolute expressions. "The Council thinks us weak, insignificant. We're going to prove them wrong. We're going to map the Zilithian expanse and return triumphant, or die trying. For Earth, for humanity." They nodded, fear and determination mingling in their eyes. They were the best of the best, handpicked for this mission. If anyone could do the impossible, it was them. As they strode out of the council chamber, Captain Arya Vance led the way, head held high. The fate of humanity rested on their shoulders now. But she would not let it crush her. She would bear it to the stars and beyond. For Earth, for humanity. A dangerous ultimatum. The human delegation returned to the ISV Intrepid in a somber mood. The weight of the challenge before them hung heavy in the recycled air. In the ship's conference room, Captain Arya Vance paced back and forth, her hands clasped behind her back. Her officers sat around the table, each lost in their own thoughts. "The Zilithian expanse," Arya said, breaking the silence. "What do we know about it?" Reeves, the science officer, shook his head. "Not much. It's not in any of our databases. From what the Council said, it seems to be a region of space that even they fear to tread. Fear, scoffed Jameson, the tactical officer. I didn't think the high and mighty Council feared anything. They may not show it, Kim chimed in, but you could see it in their eyes when they spoke of the expanse. Whatever's out there, it's beyond even their understanding. Arya stopped pacing and leaned on the table, fixing each of her officers with an intense gaze. Then it's up to us to understand it. We have a standard galactic cycle, about 10 Earth months, to map the expanse and return. It's not going to be easy. It's probably going to be the hardest thing any of us have ever done. But we're going to do it because the alternative is unacceptable. She straightened up, her voice ringing with conviction. If we fail, humanity will be forever barred from the galactic community. We will be condemned to obscurity, to never knowing what wonders and challenges lie beyond our small corner of the universe. I don't know about you, but I'm not ready to accept that fate. Not without a fight. Reeves nodded slowly. You're right, Captain. We've come too far to turn back now. The expanse is just another frontier for humanity to conquer. And conquer it we will, Jameson added, a glint of determination in his eye. We'll show the Council what we're made of. Kim leaned forward. So what's our plan, Captain? Arya activated the holographic display in the center of the table. A swirling mass of stars and nebulae appeared, with a dark void at its center. This is the Zilithian expanse, based on the coordinates the Council provided. As you can see, it's vast, possibly larger than any single star system we've encountered. Our first task will be to scout the perimeter, looking for safe entry points and potential hazards. She zoomed in on a cluster of stars on the edge of the expanse. We'll start here, at the Zilithian fringe. We'll send probes ahead to gather data and map the way. Once we have a safe route, we'll take the Intrepid in. What about the rest of the fleet? Reeves asked. Arya shook her head. They'll remain at the Council Citadel, under Commander Sorensen's command. We can't risk the entire expeditionary force on this mission. If we fail, she didn't need to finish. They all knew the stakes. We won't fail, Kim said firmly. We can't. Arya met her gaze, then looked around at each of her officers. They were all resolute, determined, ready to face whatever lay ahead. No, she agreed. We won't. She straightened up, the mantle of command settling on her shoulders. All right, everyone, you have your orders. Prepare the ship and crew for departure. We leave for the Zilithian fringe at 800 tomorrow. The Zilithian expanse. The ISV Intrepid hovered at the edge of the Zilithian expanse, its sleek hull dwarfed by the swirling cosmic maelstrom ahead. On the bridge, Captain Arya Vance stood with her hands clasped behind her back, staring into the view screen. The expanse was unlike anything they had ever seen. Nebulae of every color twisted and churned, laced with dark matter tendrils. Rogue stars drifted through the chaos, their gravitational pull warping the very fabric of space. And at the center of it all, a black hole loomed, its event horizon an inky void that seemed to swallow light itself. Captain, the probes are ready. Ensign Kim reported from her station. Awaiting your command. Arya nodded. Launch them. A series of small dart-like craft shot out from the Intrepid's launch bays, disappearing into the expanse. Each was equipped with the most advanced sensors and mapping technology humanity had to offer. Probes are away, Kim confirmed. Telemetry coming in now. The view screen shifted to a grid overlay, the probe's paths traced in glowing lines. They wove through the expanse, dodging gravitational anomalies and cosmic storms. It's incredible, Reeves breathed, his eyes glued to the data scrolling across his screen. The energy readings are off the charts. This place is a powerhouse of cosmic forces. Arya frowned. Can we navigate it? Reeves hesitated. It won't be easy. The gravitational fluctuations alone are enough to tear a ship apart. But if we're careful and lucky, I think we can find a path through. We make our own luck, Arya said firmly. Plot the safest course based on the probe data. We're going in. The Intrepid surged forward, its powerful engines pushing against the Expanse's grasp. The ship shuddered as it crossed the threshold, the view screen filling with a kaleidoscope of swirling color. "Shields holding," Jameson reported from Tactical. "But there's a lot of strain on the hull. We can't maintain this speed for long." "Understood," Arya said. "Reeves, how's that course looking?" "I'm transmitting it now," Reeves said, his fingers flying over his console. "It should take us through the calmest parts of the Expanse. But Captain, even the calm parts are pretty rough." Arya's jaw tightened. "We don't have a choice. Engage course, best possible speed." The Intrepid veered onto its new heading, threading through a narrow corridor of relative stability. Even so, the ride was far from smooth. The ship shook and groaned, its inertial dampeners struggling to compensate for the gravitic shears. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange on the sensors," Kim said suddenly. "It looks like a ship, but it's not registering on any of our databases." Arya frowned. "The Council said no one has ever returned from the Expanse. Could it be a derelict?" "I don't think so," Kim said slowly. "I'm detecting power signatures. It's operational. And Captain, it's on an intercept course." A chill ran down Arya's spine. "Jameson, raise shields and ready weapons. Kim, try to hail them." The bridge crew scrambled to obey as the unknown ship grew larger on the view screen. It was a strange design, all jagged edges and pulsing lights, like nothing they had encountered before. "No response to hails," Kim reported, a note of strain in her voice. "They're locking weapons," Jameson shouted. "Evasive maneuvers," Arya barked. "Get us out of here." The Intrepid veered sharply, just as a lance of searing energy shot past, narrowly missing the hull. The unknown ship pursued, firing again and again, the blasts coming closer each time. "Shields at 60%. Jameson yelled over the blaring alarms. "We can't take much more of this." Arya gritted her teeth. This wasn't a fight they could win, not here in the heart of the Expanse. They needed to lose their pursuer and fast. "Reeves," she snapped, "is there anywhere we can hide? An asteroid field, a nebula, anything." Reeves scanned his displays, sweat beading his brow. "There's a dense patch of dust clouds ahead. The interference might be enough to mask our signature." "Do it," Arya ordered. "Kim, as soon as we're in the cloud, cut the engines. We'll drift until they pass." The Intrepid plunged into the swirling dust, the alien ship hot on their heels. The moment they crossed the threshold, Kim cut the engines, and the Intrepid went dark and silent. On the view screen, the dust parted to reveal the alien ship, still searching, its lights scanning the murk. It passed close, so close they could see strange glyphs etched into its hull. Then it was gone, vanishing into the dust. A collective sigh of relief passed through the bridge. "That was too close," Reeves muttered, wiping his brow. "Indeed," Arya agreed, "and it raises some troubling questions. If that ship was here, in the Expanse, then perhaps the Council wasn't telling us the whole truth. Perhaps we're not the first ones to venture this deep." A somber silence settled over the bridge as they contemplated this. What other secrets was the Expanse hiding? And more importantly, would they survive long enough to find out? Arya straightened in her chair. "We press on," she said firmly. "We've come too far to turn back now. Reeves, find us a way out of this dust cloud. Kim, keep scanning for any signs of that ship or others like it. Jameson, keep the weapons hot and the shields up. We don't know what else we might encounter out here." As the Intrepid ventured deeper into the Zilithian Expanse, Captain Arya Vance could feel the weight of her decisions pressing down on her. The lives of her crew, the fate of her species, all rested on her shoulders. But she would not falter. She would not fail. She would see this mission through, no matter the cost. For Earth, for humanity. The Council's verdict. The ISV Intrepid emerged from the Zilithian Expanse, battered but unbroken. Its hull was scorched and dented, its shields flickering, but it had survived. Against all odds, Captain Area Vance and her intrepid crew had mapped the expanse and returned. Now, as the ship limped back towards the Galactic Council's citadel, Area couldn't help but feel a sense of trepidation. They had completed the challenge, yes, but at what cost? The expanse had tested them in ways they had never been tested before. They had faced cosmic storms that threatened to tear the ship apart, navigated treacherous asteroid fields, and dodged the grasp of hungry black holes. But the greatest challenge had come from the unknown ships that stalked the expanse's depths. There had been more encounters after the first, each more harrowing than the last. The aliens, whoever or whatever they were, seemed determined to prevent anyone from mapping the expanse. It was only through the skill and bravery of Area's crew that they had survived. Jameson's quick reflexes at the weapons console, Reeves' brilliant navigation, Kim's tireless work at the sensors. They had all been pushed to their limits and beyond. And then there were the derelicts, the ghost ships drifting aimlessly through the expanse. Some were of alien design, but others were hauntingly familiar. Human ships, long-lost expeditions that had ventured into the expanse and never returned. Each one, they found, added to the weight on Area's shoulders. How many lives had been lost in this forbidden region of space, and for what? These questions weighed heavy on Area's mind as the Intrepid settled into its assigned dock at the Council Citadel. She gathered her officers, and together they made their way to the Council chamber. The chamber was just as grand and intimidating as Area remembered, the various alien counselors looming above them. But this time, there was an air of anticipation, of curiosity. Whispers rustled through the room as the humans entered. Kralzak the Unfathomable leaned forward on their platform, their swirling galactic eyes fixing on Area. "Captain Vance, you have returned from the Zilithian expanse. Have you completed the challenge set before you?" Area stepped forward, her head held high. "We have, Counselor. We have mapped the expanse and returned with the data." She held up a data crystal, the fruits of their labor. A murmur went through the council. Kralzak extended a shadowy appendage, and the data crystal floated up to them, enveloped in an aura of dark energy. The Unfathomable examined it, their eyes whirling. "It is as the human claims," they said at last. "The expanse has been mapped. The challenge is complete." Whispers crescendoed into a buzz of conversation. The human delegation looked around, uncertain. "But there is more to this tale, is there not?" Kralzak said, their voice cutting through the noise. "Speak, Captain Vance. Tell us of your journey." And so, Area did. She told of the cosmic storms and the black holes, of the daring maneuvers and narrow escapes. She told of the alien ships that had hounded them, and of the derelicts they had found. She left nothing out, recounting every trial and tribulation. When she finished, a heavy silence hung in the air. Then, slowly, a sound began to build. It started as a low rumble, then grew into a roar. It was applause, coming from the council members. One by one, they stood, acknowledging the humans' achievement. Kralzak's voice boomed out over the din. "Captain Area Vance, you and your crew have done something no other species has managed. You have faced the Zilithian expanse and emerged victorious. You have proven the resilience, the ingenuity, and the bravery of your species." The Unfathomable paused, their gaze sweeping over the human delegation. "It is the decision of this council that humanity be granted a seat at this august body. You have earned your place among the stars." Area felt a swell of emotion rising in her chest. Pride, relief, gratitude. It was almost overwhelming. She looked at her crew, seeing her own feelings reflected in their faces. "Thank you, counselors," she said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind inside her. "We are honored to accept this responsibility. But if I may, I have one request." Kralzak inclined their head. "Speak." "The Zilithian expanse. There are others there, aren't there? Other species, perhaps trapped or lost. We found signs of them. I ask that the Council commit to aiding these lost souls, to bringing them home if possible." A ripple of surprise went through the chamber. Kralzak leaned back, their eyes whirling thoughtfully. "A noble request, Captain. It shall be considered. The Expanse has long been a mystery, even to us. Perhaps it is time we shed some light on it." Arya bowed her head. "Thank you, Counselor." With that, the historical moment came to a close. Humanity had taken its first steps onto the galactic stage. The future was bright with promise and heavy with responsibility. As Arya and her crew left the chamber, she couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. They had done it. Against all odds, they had succeeded. But she knew this was just the beginning. The universe was vast and full of wonders and terrors yet unseen. Humanity would face many more challenges in the years to come. But whatever those challenges were, Arya knew one thing for certain. They would face them as they had faced the Expanse, together with courage, determination, and an unbreakable spirit. For they were human, and the stars were theirs to explore. The end.